If you think cold email is dead, you are flat out wrong. I've used cold email to generate over 1,000 sales calls in 2023. And if you use it properly, you can use it to generate meetings on demand. In this video, I'm going to reveal the full cold email playbook so that you can generate meetings using cold email completely on autopilot going into 2024. So without further ado, let's dive straight in. All right, so the ultimate cold email guide for 2024. We're gonna go over everything A to Z, show you exactly what you need to know so you don't miss out anything on doing cold email properly going into 2024. So what we're going to cover in this video, number one, cold email 101. If you've never sent any cold emails before, we're just going to cover the basics. 2023 versus 2024, what has changed tangibly between last year and this year. 2024 spam proof email infrastructure so your emails don't land in spam. Lead scraping software playbook, cold email copywriting guide, and then the full checklist and bonuses at the very end of the video. So you want to make sure that you stay to the end. So a little bit of background. Who am I? My name is Matt. We send a little over 200,000 emails per month for our clients using cold email over at Aniva Marketing. So I know a thing or two about cold email. I also coach over 350 other agencies, consultants, and B2B companies in a different coaching program. I run a newsletter. You have a bunch of case studies here if you want to see the types of results that we've gotten, but just diving straight into what we are going to be talking about. So first, cold email 101. So a little bit about cold email if you've never run it before and the background and just the landscape as a whole. The cold email landscape, it's evolved over the last few years. These are the general best practices to send cold emails at scale and to make sure that you land in the inbox. So the first thing, sending infrastructure. So just cold email basics. You're going to want to be able to create multiple inboxes under multiple domains. You're not going to want to send tons of emails from just one email provider because that's going to cause a lot of issues. So instead of sending 500 emails per day from one account, you send 25 emails a day from 20 different accounts. So it looks something a little bit like this. Sending software. So you're not manually sending out these cold emails. This is a common question is, how are you actually sending these out? Use a tool to automatically send out these emails with random variations to simulate human activity, and you send simulated warm-up emails to help increase the reputation and to get around spam filters. We're going to go deeper into that. Data scraping, to get the data to send the cold emails in the first place, you're going to use data providers. You're going to buy lists from third parties to get that data, and you're going to pass it through third-party validation tools to make sure that the emails are actually existing in the first place and are valid, because if you send emails out to people that don't exist, it's going to cause a lot of other problems. Copywriting, last thing, just in the basics, to make sure you're sending out successful cold email campaigns, you need to make sure you're speaking to the market segment that you're reaching out to specifically and push for a call to sell them on your service. That's a little bit about cold email 101. Now that we've covered the basics, what has changed between 2023 and 2024? So a little bit of background. In 2023, Zoho, the email infrastructure provider or the email sending, platform, has gotten banned. So the inboxes were way too cheap. It was abused by spammers. Google is massively cracking down. So Google is a sending platform. They're banning more accounts with high spam volume. They're putting more measures in place, and they've made it a lot harder to create accounts. And also in 2023, more sending tools have been accessible than ever. So Zoho and Google are the email sending platforms, but the actual tools themselves that are used to send the emails out, not like the actual infrastructure itself. Tools like Instantly, Smart Lead, Quick Mail have made the unlimited model the gold standard. So these are the tools that actually facilitate the sending in the first place, and they've all adopted this unlimited model, which has made cold email orders of magnitudes cheaper. So that's really what changed in 2023. Going back, 3 years prior to that, cold email was super expensive. It was a lot harder to run, but now the things that used to cost $500 a month cost $50 a month. Things have changed a lot into 2024. This is why I see as different, what has changed, and ultimately what you need to know to make sure that you're prepared. So sending provider changes, account cycling, spin tax, quality first approach, new data scraping methods, and segmentation. So I'm going to dive straight into that. So 2024, talking about the spam proof email infrastructure, talking about how to make sure that you land in the inbox consistently. This is what you're going to want to be adopting. So I talked about this a little bit before, the horizontally scaled email infrastructure, but going into 2024, you're probably going to want to even take it a step further. So what do I mean by this? In the past, you were able to just get away, be a little bit sloppier with it, but now Google has implemented restrictions on an admin panel level. So what that means, that's where you set up your inboxes on an admin panel. You go to Google, you set up an admin panel account. That's where you purchase the inboxes. But going into 2024, Google has cracked down on the actual organizational level stuff or the admin panel level stuff. So you're going to want to set up more of those. Let me dive a little bit deeper into the other things first. So horizontal scaling, this is the whole concept that we've been talking about, which is spreading out the email infrastructure, not just having everything vertically integrated. It's still the best practice. Make multiple domains, make multiple inboxes, and also have multiple admin panels. So it's just what I'm talking about, where you actually actually buy the email accounts from. If you centralize too much across a singular account or singular admin panel, then the email sending providers will catch on and notice that you're not sending regularly, and this can lead to issues down the road. Whenever you purchase domains, you're going to want to purchase multiple domains, and you're going to want to have maximum 2 inboxes per domain. If you're doing this traditional sending infrastructure model, we're using Google or Microsoft, you're going to max it out at 2 inboxes per domain, similar to what this diagram is showing here. Email infrastructure providers. So from the past, Google accounts seem to be fine, but pretty much everything that we've noticed post October 2023 has been a little bit touchy. You can still use Google as a sending provider. They've just been touchier. So as of now, Microsoft Outlook has been the safest place that we've personally seen to send and create cold email inboxes from. This is subject to change. Chances are that Microsoft is likely going to follow in the steps of Google and just make everything a lot harder. And most SMTP based tools on the market are still lacking in terms of deliverability. So on the market, there's the main sending email providers like Google, Microsoft, Zoho, basically the big companies that set up email inboxes. And then there's other ones on the market which are more tailored towards cold email sending, like these private email servers. Most of them are still lacking in terms of the deliverability, at least the ones that I've tested. However, I have seen some stuff that is promising, and going into 2024, there's other tools. I don't want to name a bunch because again, they might change and fluctuate what's the best one and not in terms of SMTP sending tools. So again, instead of sending from Google or Microsoft, it's like sending from a private email server. Some of them still seem to be not really there in terms of deliverability, but there are some that I have heard and have seen that are good. If they're cheap, they're probably not good, meaning if it's like a $50 a month or $20 a month type service, they're probably not good, but it's something to keep an eye on going into 2024 now that the main big providers are cracking down. Also into 2024, you're going to want to be sending less emails per account and more accounts, to compensate for that. So yeah, going into 2024, 50 cold emails per day will simply cause too many issues per account. So in the past, maybe a year ago, if you're using Google or Microsoft, you could send 50 cold emails a day and have no issues. But going into this year, that simply will cause too many issues. You're probably going to want to send closer to 25 to 35 cold emails per day, because the less emails you send per account, the more you're going to fly under the radar and the more longevity of the email accounts as a whole you will have. Also, warm up. This is what I was referring to earlier. So warm up is a process where you put your email account in a pool of other email accounts and they simulate sending activity. Going into 2024, you're still going to need to do that. And if you use a tool like SmartLead or Instantly, or really anything on the market now should have warm up, you're going to need to use this so you can consistently increase your reputation. It's the most reliable way that we have to make sure that our emails are landing in the inbox consistently. And most sending tools, like I said before, are using this as a feature in their platform. Even Apollo implemented this as of when I'm recording it. Also, going into 2024, one thing that we're going to be experimenting with and that we've seen that's going to help make sure that your email account's longevity lasts longer is account cycling. So one email account on and one email account off. So what does that mean? So going into 2024, you can preserve your email account's reputation by cycling more than one email account for each sending domain on a monthly basis. So more specifically, what does this mean? For example, month 1, you might have a email account that's joe@website.com and you send from that account. And on month 2, you switch over to joseph@website.com. Month 3, you cycle back. So basically just switching between inboxes. This is one way that you can preserve your email account's reputation and kind of get around the different spam regulations and guidelines that look like are going to come into effect into 2024. This is still probably not required, and it wasn't required in 2023, but this might become a requisite going into 2024 in a way to basically future-proof yourself, make sure your email accounts have good longevity. As I was referring to earlier, more panels. So when you create more email accounts, you're going to want to make sure that you have them under different admin panels themselves. So these admin panels, email sending providers take note of your contact and payment details and information and act as a central place for you to buy licenses for your accounts. So to prevent spam, Google and other providers are going to take action on the admin account level. So if they see that you have, 20 accounts active under one admin account and they're having spam issues, they can shut down that entire email panel once. And so to combat this, you're going to want to make sure that you spread out your email accounts across multiple different admin panels, multiple different providers, and really just scale everything as horizontally as possible. So sending tools going into 2024, the top pick that I currently have is smartlead.ai. If you want to sign up, I have a link in the description. It is an affiliate link, but I would promote them even if I didn't have an affiliate link because they do have the best APIs. Their customer support is on point and they're constantly innovating on features. But there are other sending tools to choose from if you are not in favor of SmartLead. There's tools like QuickMail, Instantly, Woodpecker, Mailshake. Just in my experience, I've seen that SmartLead is the current leading tool as of right now. So now diving into the lead scraping software playbook, you might be wondering, okay, Matt, now where do I source the leads from going into 2024? The first pick that I have is Apollo.io. The reason why is because it's still very affordable. It broadly has good data. It has a ton of industries to pull from. They're really just the gold standard in terms of like pricing to value ratio. Their entry plans start at like, I don't know, $30 to $50 a month, and then they scale up from there. This is a great starting point, a great place to get general data from, and overall, just like one of the best value to price ratio tools currently on the market. Second pick, this isn't in terms of any order necessarily either here. So these are just like different tools for different use cases. So I would say Apollo, it's kind of like the overall just general pick, gets most of the things done for the price. Clay is like the Swiss Army knife of data tools. So it allows you to actually scrape your own data from multiple data sources, run multi-step enrichment, and source unique data based on your needs. So unlike Apollo is just kind of like a generalized database. They collect their own data and just resell it out to you. Clay, on the other hand, is a Swiss Army knife tool. It's basically Excel on steroids. It allows you to connect tons of different data tools and use it in a way to get data from multiple sources, from your own sources, and basically just run all kinds of unique different things if you want to run your own data scraping. So you can see this is like a table I had. I blurred out a lot of the stuff, but you can take someone's full name, address, city, and then you can use that data to collect a bunch of other different data, which you can layer on. You can also run, chat GPT AI enhancements through Clay. So you can grab someone's company details, have chat GPT make AI prompt based on those details. So tons of good stuff. Clay is a really great tool. However, it is more on the expensive side, but it really is like the Swiss Army knife in terms of data tools. You can get pretty much everything done through there. It's just a little bit more expensive. So now moving on to Sales Navigator. So if you don't know what Sales Navigator is, it's basically LinkedIn's native data scraping tool. It allows you to get data straight off the LinkedIn platform of specific profiles, people, and you can filter by industries, all kinds of cool stuff that I have in this example here. Anyways, you can use Sales Navigator to scrape data. The reason why Sales Navigator is great is number one, it's only $99 a month, but number two, it's the most real-time and up-to-date data that you can possibly get. So most tools like data from Apollo and other data sources, they pull the data, they scrape it directly from LinkedIn. So let's say you change your job title. You used to work at Jimmy John's and now you work at Domino's. That data is pretty much scraped from LinkedIn because that's where you're declaring that information in the first place. And the great part about using Sales Navigator is that right whenever that happens, you're going to have the most up-to-date data versus Apollo is going to have to, rescrape their data, update it, and it might be slightly inaccurate. So most data providers pull their data from LinkedIn anyways. So that's why it's a great place to source your data if you want real-time accuracy. You have a lot of filters here: company, headcount, past companies, functions, job titles. You get a lot of flexibility through Sales Navigator. However, to pull off the data off of Sales Navigator, you're going to need a third-party scraper to pull their data off their platform. There's tools like Find Email, Clean Leads, Wizza, Evaboot. These tools all have extensions where you can take the data off of LinkedIn Sales Navigator and then put it inside your own database where you can get the emails from and use it for quoting. The next tool I want to cover is listkit.io. So listkit, they recently, within this year, launched their first self-serve platform, which is similar to Apollo. Overall, the platform is somewhat similar to Apollo. They have their own data sources. They have tons of filters. They have this really neat data visualization feature that Apollo doesn't have, where you can see where your data is coming from, the different breakdowns by, person and unit, to see all the different ways your data is being subdivided up. It allows you also to have validation run directly through their platform. So if you're using a tool like Apollo, you're going to have to run it through a third-party validator. The reason why is because, again, as I said before, some of the data gets old and expired, and you want to make sure you're having the most up-to-date data so your emails aren't bouncing. But using listkit, they run real-time validation, which makes it slightly more expensive, but also makes it a lot more convenient. So yeah, you can just run the data directly on listkit.io, and whenever you're ready to export it, you press export and they run all the data validation for you, which makes it super simple. You don't have to do any third-party tools, and you can basically just take the data that you get directly off of their platform and plug it straight into your sending tool. So super neat tool, really great if you want to just make your life more convenient. So now covering copywriting. So how do you actually write these emails? We discussed the sending infrastructure. We discussed where you're going to source the data from, but how do you actually write the emails going into 2024? The first thing I would say is make sure that you're taking a quality first approach. So as we were discussing before, Google, Microsoft, all these different platforms are cracking down. People who are mass blasting emails are, those days are over. You used to be able to just send out tons of emails. People would read them. Nobody would really complain. But now with all these sending tools being really affordable and really cheap, people are complaining more. And so Google and Microsoft are cracking down. So you are being watched with a magnifying glass to see how many times you're getting marked as spam, and you're going to be banned accordingly. So Google released a policy again somewhat recently, and they're flip-flopping switching between, what it's going to apply to or not, but the general principle is still going to apply. They are monitoring how many times your emails are getting marked as spam and using that to inform whether or not you're going to land in the spam inbox for future emails. So making sure that your emails are liked in the first place and readable and people enjoy, what you're sending is really, really important, which is why you're going to want to take a quality first approach. So if you make emails that people will like, you're never going to have issues being flagged with spam, and also your delivery rate's going to be high. So if you really think big picture, why do we have to worry about all these different delivery, mechanisms, horizontally scaling and all that? And it all just comes down to people don't like the emails that you're sending. You're sending something that comes across as spammy, or it's just not relevant, or you just didn't put any thought into it. And so those people don't like those emails, which makes them land in spam. And so you're do other things to compensate for that. The overarching big picture thing is if you just make emails that people like in the first place, they want to read, and they ultimately want to buy what you're selling, then you're not going to have as many issues. And the way that you're going to do that is making sure your emails are quality. And you might be asking, okay, Matt, well, how do I make a quality cold email? The way you do it is by segmenting your email. So instead of sending 10,000 emails, just sending it to every person with a pulse inside the US, you might say, for example, okay, have a targeted, segmented subsection of people that you're targeting and write the copy just for them. So let's say, for example, you scrape a list of MSPs. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's like a managed IT company. Let's just say, IT company in Dallas. You're going to be able to write a much more relevant script than if you just mass blasted every single IT company on the face of the planet. So going more specifically, like an IT company could be a software development company. It could be a managed IT company. It could be a cloud company. It could be a cybersecurity company. There's tons of different types of IT companies. And so if you send the same email out to all those different people and you generalize them a lot, you're probably gonna get a lot of people saying like, hey, this isn't relevant to me, or, my company doesn't even sell this, because you're just over generalizing. But if you get really narrow, even by location, say, hey, I notice you're in Dallas, like go Mavs, or something relevant to the local area, that's definitely gonna help your conversion rate and overall just make your emails perform better. So segmenting your audience, instead of scraping a list of 100,000 people and sending them all the same email, scrape a list of 1,000 people and write an email directed specifically towards that segment. That's one thing that's definitely going to help your cold emails going into 2024. Another thing, into 2024, Google, Microsoft, they're all keeping an eye on your emails, and they're using AI algorithms to detect if you're sending a similar email to more people. So if, let's say, for example, you have the same email, the exact same copy, and it's being sent out to thousands and thousands and thousands of people, and every time that email gets sent out, 10% of them mark it as spam, Google and Microsoft are going to start catch on pretty quick. Like, oh, okay, when you're sending out this email, people are marking at spam as a disproportionate rate. And so that's just another metric they can use to see, okay, if this email is getting flagged as spam, just automatically put it in spam. The way that you get around this is by creating micro variations in your copy, aka spin tags. So instead of sending out the same email that reads the exact same way and then Google and Microsoft can flag the copy, you can get around it by using spin tags, which basically means creating micro randomizations in your email copy to make it look more unique when sending at scale. So diving into deeper what that looks like. So this is an example of how we use spin tags inside the intro part of our copy. So most people just send out the email and it says hi first name, comma, and then they go into the rest of their email. Instead of just saying hi first name, you can say hi first name, hello first name, hey first name, good morning first name. And then you can put it in these brackets. The exact way that you write it depends on the sending tool. But if you put it in spin tags like it is right here, you can have it cycle between all these different variations. So you essentially have 4 different unique variations that are getting sent out every single email. So instead of having one email that you're sending out to everyone, now you have 4 unique variations because one word is different. And you scatter this across your entire email copy. So this is just an example in like, the intro part where you say hi, hello, hey. But instead, you can do this in the body of the copy across multiple sentences, across multiple phrases. And this allows you to have hundreds, if not thousands of unique variations, because if you have 4 variations in one section and 4 variations in another section, then you're already at 16, and then you can just multiply it out. So you're gonna want to use this in more than just the intro segment of your copy, but this is overall going to help your deliverability and make it so your emails seem unique at scale. Last part I'm going to cover about cold email copy is the call to action. So the call to action, that's the last thing you send in your email, essentially just prompting them of what the next action they should take is. In 2024 and going beyond into 2025, as you send more and more cold emails, what will perform better is softer angles. So more and more people are just sending out the email saying like, hey, here's my product, do you want to book a call? Here's my product, do you want to book a call? The softer you can get, meaning the less tied to just a direct ask or a direct sale, the better results you're going to get. And in a sea of noise where everyone's sending the same call to action, you having something that's slightly different can get you a lot better of results. So examples of softer call to actions, you know, something that's just less salesy. But a great example of this is a lead magnet. So a lead magnet is ultimately going to get the highest response rate and will get you the highest possible chance of interest. And what a lead magnet is essentially a free service or a free item that you can give to a prospect to pique their interest and ultimately get them into the sales call. So again, instead of sending an email where you're saying, hey, here's my offer, do you want us to talk about it over a 15-minute call? You can say, hey, here's my offer. If you're interested, I can give you a free sample or a free example or a free video audit or my portfolio. All these different ways are examples of things that you can give to your prospect that will get them engaged earlier and also give them a higher likelihood chance of just getting them on a call in the first place, because you're giving them something free, valuable upfront that they can then inform their decision on and make a higher likelihood chance of ultimately buying from you. So it means ultimately make sure that your call to actions are less focused on a direct ask of their money or time and more focused on getting your foot in the door in the first place and then working the lead ultimately to the sales call and the close. So kind of just recapping everything in the video, here's the full checklist, what you're going to need to know. So number one, sending email infrastructure, 20 inboxes. So this is basically like the minimum, I would say, going into 2024. 20 inboxes, sending 500 plus emails per day across those inboxes, having your DMARC, your DKIM, your SPF fully validated. That's basically the backend tech. Ideally, making it on Microsoft instead of Google, but Google works too. Warm-ups enabled, making sure that you're doing all the best practices there. Data using Clay, Apollo, ListKit. Clay will ultimately yield the best results, but they are the most expensive. Apollo and ListKit are both really great tools if you want to pay less of a price and make your life more simple. Copy, making sure that you're having a high degree of spin tax, targeted based on your lead list, not just spraying and praying on your emails, and having your emails being short and concise, ideally readable in less than 30 seconds. So that's everything in this video. If you enjoy this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up. The last thing I want to save for the people, the wonderful people you are who made it to the end of this video, is our free cold email masterclass. So there's a link in the description to our free cold email masterclass where we go super in depth on how to do all the things that we discussed here in this video. Plus, when you sign up, you're going to get access to the top scripts that we use inside our agency. Also 5 other freebies. Sign up. It's at moreleadsmoremoney.com. And if you want our team to come in and actually do all the lead gen work for you, generate you 10 to 20 qualified leads per month, and manage your whole lead gen email marketing system end to end, you can visit anivomarketing.com, book a call. We can have a quick chat, see if you're a fit, and see if we can ultimately help you out going into 2024. Appreciate all your time. Appreciate all the love and support, and let's get it into 2024.